Hello, everyone from Chelsea Fan TV. I hope you're all doing very, very well. Welcome back to everyone, and I hope you're having a good Monday. It is a weekend where we can be relaxed in terms of the fact that we gain points on Villa, we gain points on Liverpool, and we are looking a little bit more comfy in terms of the Champions League race, top 4 race, top 5 race, whatever you want to call it. And we spoke yesterday. If you were watching the day after show, we were speaking about everything that's going on around the club in terms of building momentum. Like how much should we celebrate this win against Wolves? How much should we look at the performance itself and compliment it? Because my standpoint seems to be a little bit more on the side of I'm honestly taking that win with a little bit of a pinch of salt. But that being said, I think there are some really good points made about why we should be looking in a more positive way at that result and what that result entails and what kind of confidence it gives us. So I see both sides, to be honest with you. I see both sides. I still believe, if I'm totally honest, that it's a little bit underwhelming in terms of it's not really like I'm not getting carried away with it. People say this to me all the time, and there are points when I go, I think you've been a little bit harsh here, like when we beat teams like Barcelona and all the rest of it, and they go, well, yeah, this is just the standard. And I go, well, no. You've got to celebrate beating Barcelona. You're not going to. What am I going to do? Sit with a straight face while Esteval's scoring that wonder goal? And then there's games against Wolves where I'm like, fair enough. Like, honestly, that is the stance that I take. It's a must-win game. We need to win it. We should win it. We should win it when we rotate 2 players, 3 players, 4 players, 5 players, 6 players. No matter how many players we rotate, we should be beating Wolverhampton Wanderers. They're wandering into the Championship, okay? And they're the worst Premier League side I've ever seen. They really are. It's not even a controversial thing to say, if I'm being totally honest with you. Like, they're just a shocking football side. They could barely string passes together. Their goal was from a set piece, and I don't know what kind of jubilation I'm supposed to feel after that match. But that being said, like, I'm all for going through the match and saying this player looked good, that player looked good. Fair enough. Like, I'm not, there's nothing wrong with that. But let's not act like the first half was the best thing you've ever seen. I mean, people were saying it was controlled. And I go, okay, well, of course you're going to control things against Wolves. Like, if we're going to do that against Brentford, it's more impressive. If we're going to do that against Everton, I'll be impressed. Right, these are competent football sides. Wolves just aren't. So forgive me for not getting carried away, guys. That's just my stance. That's my opinion on it. And obviously, we're going to touch a little bit on this Wolves game. There's been a few things going around, to be fair, that have sort of intrigued me. One of which has been the situation going on with Chelsea Ladies. Like, I don't know if you know, but we've got a new owner/investor in Chelsea Women. Another thing that's been really, really intriguing is what Pochettino's had to say, because he just did an interview on the High Performance podcast. He spoke about Cole Palmer. I thought he made some really interesting comments on him. And to be fair, like, hardly say I'm surprised by those comments based on what Cole Palmer's gone on to do, even since Pochettino's left the club. And we're just going to be touching on everything else surrounding the situation at the moment. We're gonna be speaking about the tactics. We're going to speak about João Pedro. We're going to be talking about as much as we can get in to this show. We're also going to be touching on Pedro Neto as well, because there's been an article coming out from the Daily Mail, and the article is called "The Evidence That Proves Chelsea Fans Must Stop Neto Criticism." And this is from Kieran Gill. And to be honest with you, I wanted to read the article, but you've got to bloody pay for it. And I'm thinking, I already subscribed to The Athletic and The Telegraph. Do I really want to pay for the Daily Mail as well? But maybe I will, to be fair, just for the sake of it. because I do actually like being able to read these articles and go through everything. I'm not entirely sure all of everything that goes into it, but like I think that's actually an interesting article that will cause some debate right there. Like there was an article on Garnacho as well, which was from the Athletic, and that was a good article, and it was basically speaking about his potential. People are getting frustrated with him not fulfilling his potential, but then he's only 21. You're thinking, God, Garnacho's been around for years, but that's because he made his debut when he was 17. So, I mean, in the grand scheme of things, 21 is nothing. I mean, you have to admit you probably would give a player a little bit more time just based on that age. But when you've seen a player get to the stage where they're not even knocking on the door, but you're seeing glimpses of what they could be, and they're just never able to replicate that on a consistent basis, that's when I think the frustration comes out with Garnacho. Whereas Pedro Neto a little bit older than Garnacho, still not an old player, young. I think he's 23, 24. And people are going, well, what does Pedro Neto give me? What does he do? People find him very frustrating to watch in a different way to Garnacho, because what Garnacho doesn't offer is defensive work rate. Not a particularly reliable player in terms of what he's going to do each game, or at least in a positive sense, what he can contribute. But what Garnacho is very good at doing generally is getting into positions where he can score goals and have chances created to then finish those opportunities. And I think Neto's different, right? Neto's more of a team player. I do think he's a player, at least based on what I've seen from Liam Rossinha, that benefited more from Maresca. And this is something that I've said from the beginning with Rossinha. I do believe that you're going to see more individual amazing performances like what we saw from Palmer. I know that 2 of the goals were penalties, but there was still 2 goals. And then obviously he got a goal from open play as well. Like, you can't deny Cole Palmer's quality. It's still a hat trick, right? And the thing is, we never really saw much of that under Maresca, especially during the latter stages. Obviously, Palmer thrived an awful lot when Maresca first joined, but I always believed that he was sort of just carrying on from the wave of the previous season, right? How could you not feel really confident as a player after scoring over 25 goals? I think it was incredible, right? So you're almost getting 40 GA, and then the manager goes from saying, we want to basically continue to rely on Palmer, which, by the way, is what any top team does with their best player. You don't think that Madrid relied on Ronaldo and Barcelona rely on Messi and PSG relied on Neymar and Mbappe? Like, you're always going to lean on your best players. And then we went to the stage of, right, we don't want a player scoring 20 goals. We want 4 players scoring 5 goals. That's what we want. And that's what we got, by the way, because Cucurella started chipping in, Fernandez started chipping in. And we had players like Neto as well chipping in, who this season, especially since the Club World Cup, apart from the past couple of months, has been really good. But I can't deny his form in recent weeks, months even. I haven't been impressed with Neto. A bit like Delap, right? One of those players where I really want him to do well, but I think he could do better. I don't think Wolves was the game to criticize Neto either. I really don't look at it like that. I could have looked at Napoli. I could have looked at West Ham. Did he get an assist against West Ham? No, I don't think he did get an assist against West Ham. But like even there, like, people took the piss out of him for the Arsenal game. He got an assist for Garnacho. He was a substitute in that game. I just don't see the Pedro Neto hate in the same way that everyone else does. And I'm kind of the same with Garnacho, but I understand the frustration more. Garnacho, I'll be honest, is a very frustrating player. And you need to have some serious patience to deal with a player like that. I'm with you on that. And you know what? I'm going to subscribe to the Daily Mail. I want to read this article. First month 3. What the hell is this? Cancel anytime. Cancel anytime. What is this? £9.99 a month. Not really a fan of that, if I'm honest. What is this? I'm not paying that. I'm sorry, guys. I'm just not paying for that. I thought it was going to be like £2 a month. I'm not paying £9 a month. Okay. Well, anyway, this is what one of the articles, they've had like a little sort of half release, if you want to call it that. One account with 400,000 followers even hopped on the hate trend by highlighting how Pedro Neto did not run to celebrate Parma's hat-trick goal with him. A classic case of clickbait. They failed to mention the reason. Neto chose to first embrace the defenders who had initiated the back-to-front team goal before joining the huddled group, as he did after Parma's first 2 goals. Now, I'll be honest with you, I don't even know this. And Scott said this yesterday on the day after show. I didn't have a response for it because I saw the replay and I thought, yeah, that is a bit strange, if I'm honest with you. Like, I didn't read into it the same way everyone else did. Well, there you go. That addresses that point. So there's no beef between Pedro Neto and Cole Palmer. That's a conspiracy theory that we can bury. Everyone's saying that Pedro Neto seems to hate the guy, doesn't want to pass to him, never takes the opportunity to pass to him. Well, it looks like they shook hands after the game. They seem to be very happy with each other. Also, like, Pedro Neto's personality is not that, like, this is the other thing I've heard. Fernandez, Ronaldo, Diego Dallo, like egotistical players from Portugal, and then you put Pedro Neto in the same bracket. It's just not the case, though, is it? It's just not the case. This is a guy who is a team player. Literally the reason that every single manager wants to put him in the side, because when things aren't going well and you don't have a striker, that's what Pedro Neto can do. And that's what Maresca did. He made Pedro Neto a striker. And actually in that period last season, those of you who remember, Pedro Neto was not a bad striker for us. On the flip side, you've got a player that, okay, maybe you want a little bit more defensively from. I know I'm going to get that from Pedro Neto. I know I'm going to get the legs. You want a player who's going to run in behind. He can do that. You want a player who can try and play as a wing back. I'll be honest with you, that didn't work. But I like the fact that Neto he just puts his head down and gets on with it. Like, I don't see the guy complaining. And that's what I want from a footballer ultimately. I just want someone that gets their head down. And he gets far too much hate. Far too much hate. So, I mean, let me know if you agree with what I'm saying about Neto. I personally think some of the criticism has been very, very harsh. But at the same time, I can't deny that, there are games where he needs to do better. And that is the same for most footballers. So we're not sitting here saying he's one of our best at the moment. I certainly don't agree with that. But I do believe that he's a player that's been quite integral to what Chelsea have done over the past couple of years. And what he has offered us has been really underappreciated. So that's my opinion on it. Neto's a player that I'd be willing to defend a lot more than Garnacho, because Neto might not give you what you want at times in terms of when he has the ball, but without the ball, I find him to be more stable than most. The guy's been playing he's been involved in 36 games this season, scored 7 goals, got 4 assists. 11 GA in 36. And yeah, I mean, I think there's a reason the guy's playing. That's the reality of the situation. I think there's a reason the guy's playing. And when he is playing, I don't think Chelsea are a worse team. I really don't. Unless you're comparing him to Esteval, who I think is a more talented footballer. But then again, Esteval doesn't offer you what Pedro Neto offers you on a defensive standpoint. So are you telling me that if you were 1-0 up in a game and you wanted to hold on to a lead, you'd keep Steve on the right-hand side, you'd probably look to shore things up a little bit? That's not to say I don't love Steve. Of course I do. But that's what Neto gives you, guys. That's what Neto gives you. He had a fantastic period midway through the season as well, from game week 8 until game week 16. goal and assist against Forest, assist against Sunderland, goal against Wolves, goal against Burnley, goal against Leeds, goal assist against Everton. And this guy's been chipping in, but just because he's not like Cole Palmer and he's not doing it every single week, to be fair, Palmer needs to pick up as well, but he's had injury problems. Like, the guy just gets heavily criticised. I said to Pedro Neto as well, like, at the time when I went to the training, I was like, I love this guy. He's my favourite player. I need to get Neto on the back of my shirt. I have to admit, over recent weeks, no, it hasn't been my favourite player. Still one of my favourites, though, because attitude is something that people just don't respect. They say, oh, he's a head-down merchant. He just runs. Well, why are people complimenting the fact that he is running in the first place? Maybe it's because there's other players in the side that don't run and don't put a shift in and don't work for the team and are selfish. Maybe that's one of the reasons the guy's getting complimented on his work rate, because I don't see Garnacho getting complimented in the same way. I really don't. I don't see it. I don't see it. No, I mean, I love Steve. I love Esteval, but nobody comments on his work rate. They comment on his talent and his ability. So when you have players out there, same with Gittins. Nobody's talking about Gittins' work rate. Nobody's talking about it. So I've got one winger that gets complimented on his work rate, and people want to criticize the fact that he works hard and use that against him because he's not as talented a footballer. Well, obviously, if you're not as talented, you need to work harder. But surely that hard work is going to help somewhere, because you don't have the ball 100% of the time. There's going to be moments in games where you need to defend, where you need to track back. There might be a moment when you need to make a run to help someone else, maybe an overlap. Whatever it is. That's the reality of Pedro Neto, guys. He's not sexy. I mean, I'll give you that. It's not sexy to watch. But not everything needs to be. One of the greatest players in Chelsea in modern for Chelsea in modern times was Azpilicueta. You telling me he was talented? He wasn't talented at all. But he was focused, he was switched on, he was available. He could play in a back three. He could play as a left back. He could play as a right back. Neto can play as a striker if needed. He can play on the right. He can play on the left. Nobody's saying he's world class. I'm certainly not. But I'm not sitting here saying the guy's a bum either. I'm not going on that train. I'm not riding that train. Not a fan of Neto, Pierre, huh? Fair enough. Big up to Amir as well. Good to see you. The best thing that can happen to Neto is to have a Moses-like transition to wing back. Think could be much better there. I mean, I'll be honest though, mate. If I'm totally honest, I wasn't impressed when he was a wing back. That was against Napoli. I thought he was really poor. So, I mean, I respect the fact that he's willing to play in that position. I don't see Neto as the kind of guy who can complain. I also think that he's the best player to experiment with in that sense. I mean, you're not going to get that with Garnacho or Gittins. Definitely not Steve. But yeah, it didn't work. So I'm open to seeing it potentially, but I wasn't a big fan of what I did see when it was there. Yeah, so this hate on Neto for me is just a bit forced, really. It's a bit forced. Garnacho's one where I'm like, all right, cool. How many L's do we need to take for the guy to then come out of the other side and then we go, oh, you know what? I'm really enjoying what I'm seeing there. How many L's? Quite a few in recent times. But then, like, he pops up against Arsenal. Can't deny it. He was the one that kept us in the cup. People hating on Garnacho, although I will say that Garnacho had a poor impact coming on in the second leg, but that was also because the manager was asking him to stay out wide. I mean, the guy needs to make runs inside. He needs to get into dangerous positions. I'm like, this is not a guy I want to, he's not a touchline winger. Not for me. Another update from Kieran Gill: Chelsea could choose to entertain offers for Pedro Neto in the next window, or they may decide it is useful having his experience to entertain offers. Okay, 2 reasons why this could potentially be true. Number one, Pedro Neto is one of our higher earners. Number two, to just make space for another young player that we probably already signed, like Quenda. I would have said Kendry Pires at one time, but he looks like he's having a terrible time based on his form in France. And I don't know anything about Argentina, but I can't imagine he'll be playing for Chelsea anytime soon with the attitude that he has. So, I mean, number one reason is because of the wages. I think Pedro Neto's on about 160 grand a week, and he is one of our higher earners. And to be fair, you'd say to an extent it's kind of justifiable. At the time of signing Pedro Neto, people were really happy because he was one of the proven players that wasn't just potential, right? Because he had already performed to a decent level at Wolves, and people go, oh, this is great. Now people want to get on the bandwagon that they don't like him. But at the time, they were very, very happy and impressed with that signing. So as it stands, Pedro Neto is currently the 5th highest earner at Chelsea, behind Reece James on 250k, Wesley Fofana on 200, Enzo Fernandez on 180k, Cucurella 175, very much deserved. And then you've got Pedro Neto on 160, who's above Caicedo and Palmer. But actually, this is prior to the Champions League incentive-based contracts, because I know that Cole Palmer is actually on more than 130k. He's on closer to 200 because you get, I think, a 20 or 30% bump with Champions League football. So am I right in saying that that would be the same for Pedro Neto as well? I think there's a chance that that could be the case because these wages haven't been updated with those stats in mind. So a little bit skeptical about actually whether that might be more than 160k and he's on over 200. Let me know if anyone has any information. I'm more than happy to take a look at that. Now, what we do need to dive into a little bit is something we don't really talk about much, but when it comes to owners and investors, I mean, how can you not address it, right? Chelsea have a new investor. Yeah, let's not sit here and say owner. Okay, it's an investor, especially with the fact that Alex Ohanian, who's sort of taking a lead of that particular project. For those of you who don't know who he is, he's Serena Williams' husband. Serena Williams is arguably the greatest female tennis player of all time. Alex Ohanian is a guy who basically invests heavily in women's sports, and he invested in, I think it was Angels FC or something, which is an American team, and he significantly increased their value once he got involved, and presumably made a lot of money, or is still holding that equity at the moment. Not entirely sure. He wants to do the same thing with Chelsea, build them up in value, so presumably he can sell on for a massive profit. For those of you who don't know who Giannis is a basketball player. He's a basketball player who plays in the NBA. Currently, he plays for the Bucks. I don't even know what the name is of that team. Where the hell is who's the Bucks? I know some of you might be from America, so maybe you can educate me a little bit. Anyway, so this guy, Giannis Antetokounmpo, that's his full name. He has joined the Chelsea Women Ownership Group, and he's announced that he has joined publicly. He plays for the Milwaukee Bucks. And he's partnering with, as I said, Alex Ohanian, who's the Reddit founder as well, who last year paid around £20 million to purchase a stake of approximately 10% in the reigning Women Super League champions. And this is what he had to say, Giannis. He said, "I'm proud and honored to partner with my friend Alex Ohanian, joining the ownership group at Chelsea Football Club Women's, with a historic club built on passion, excellence, and a winning culture." Giannis said in a post in front, with a post of him wearing a Chelsea shirt on X, "Chelsea's history speaks for itself, and I'm excited to contribute to the future by supporting continued growth and impact in women's sport. This is about ambition, legacy, and pushing the game to new heights. Up the Chelsea." Yeah, so I'm guessing that he is purchasing part of that stake that Ohanian already has. So if Ohanian has a 10% stake, maybe he sold part of that to Giannis. Not entirely sure. Maybe he's bought another percentage. That information isn't out there at the moment. At least I can't see it. The West London club confirmed Giannis's addition to the Chelsea women's ownership group, but declined to offer details on the size of the stake or what valuation it places upon the team. Giannis is the latest in a growing number of NBA superstars to venture into soccer club ownership. LeBron James is a minority owner of Liverpool since 2011, while also being separately invested in AC Milan, and Kevin Durant became a minority shareholder in PSG in 2024. I didn't even know he was a shareholder in PSG, to be fair. Chelsea women are third in the WSL table, trailing leaders Manchester City by 12 points. They are the most successful club in the competition's history and have lifted the trophy in each of the last 6 years. On Friday, the club announced that head coach Sonia Bompasta has extended her contract with the club until 2030. So we're 12 points behind Man City. That is not good. By Chelsea ladies' standards, that is shocking, to be honest with you. But listen, you can't have it all. Am I going to sit here and act like Chelsea men are doing much better? Although we are closer to we're about 15 points behind Arsenal, aren't we? So is it 15 points? Maybe not even that, actually. So we might be as close as they are. So yeah, this is an interesting move, but it's another money-making move. There's not really an awful lot more to add to that. I think it's great that the women's team have more investment because, then they can spend a little bit more money. It seems like we need to invest a little bit. The fact that we're far enough away from Man City, I'm not sure exactly why that is. I haven't been keeping up to date with Chelsea ladies, if I'm perfectly honest. But yeah, we need to definitely be. I mean, we've got to win the league every single year. It's a disaster if Chelsea don't win the league. If only we were saying that in the men's side, right? It's almost been 10 years. Here's something that I really did like, though, and this is about Mauricio Pochettino, who came out and spoke about Cole Palmer. This is on the High Performance podcast, which is a really good podcast as well. Graham Potter did an interview on there. Frank Lampard did a famous interview a couple of years ago, speaking about his experience when he came back to Chelsea for a second time, and basically a lot of the problems around the club. This is quite an eye-opening sort of excerpt. So let me just read it to you now. Pochettino said about Cole Palmer, he said, "With Cole Palmer, you cannot say move from here to there. That is your movement and it's mechanical. No, of course. It has to be mechanical in some aspects of the game when you don't have the ball. But after, it is your quality and your capacity to understand the game. What is the demand of the game? The situation, your intuition, the capacity to see a space, arrive, or to dribble and shoot. We are not going to cut this potential. This is why football is so emotional, because a player like him has the capacity to create that emotion that makes people go crazy. And this is a player, obviously, that we can all agree with, that really benefited from Pochettino. So that's why I quite like this quote. There's a little bit more to it as well. He also spoke about his mentality. He said, after a few training sessions, he came to my office. Coach, from the players you've had that play in my position, I think I need to do a bit more, because I didn't do too much at City. What do you think? I looked at Jesus, who is currently his assistant, has been for a long time, and said, that desire is top. Just arrived after a few sessions because of the demand on a player in that position. He is a player with the intelligence to want to do everything. And yeah, I just thought that was really good. That's a good little thing on Palmer's mentality. You know, Palmer's mentality gets overlooked because he's so relaxed and he's not really involved in any of these scuffles. He doesn't get involved in drama. Just a player that keeps himself to himself and wants to play football, right? That's literally what Cole Palmer is. He has an elite mentality. That is an elite player right there. And if you allow a player like that to just go out and win you football matches, that's what you're going to get, man. And how many great games did we have with Palmer? I can think of a very small minority of games where Palmer wasn't great, but that's just part of development, isn't it? Overall, I think, yeah, his development has been sensational. I hope that we can continue that with Rafinha, because it seems like there is a bit of a connection between Rafinha and Palmer. At least we saw that with João Pedro as well in Napoli. And I'm looking at the team now and I'm going, we need individuals for the month of February to go out and win us games. Of course, the system is important, but you cannot deny, and we've seen this already, like we've had so much proof of this, it is moments of brilliance that wins you football matches at times where you think no system is going to be able to help you whatsoever because of whatever reason. The manager got it wrong. The other team set up really well. They're counteracting everything that we're doing. It takes a moment of magic at times. And that's what I want to see. I guess you could say that the magic on Saturday was from Palmer getting his hat trick. I guess you could consider that magic. I guess João Pedro deserves a little bit of credit for that as well, because he was the one who won 2 of the penalties, albeit they were very stupid to concede from Wolves' perspective. And I feel pretty much the same way about the Leeds game, about the Hull game, about the Burnley game. I'm putting it down to individuals. I want a system to work. I think the midfield is a really interesting one, especially with Santos in the picture. I hope he's going to be fine for the Leeds game. Santos in the picture really does. He changes the landscape of everything. Like, he changed the way that we saw Enzo as well. Rafinha said he's done what he's always done. He played in the left sort of pocket, half space. At times he was a winger. At times he was drifting inside. I didn't particularly like what I saw when Fernandes was wide, but I can't deny that when Cucurella was overlapping and you had Fernandes in a more central position, he was able to knock the ball about, and it didn't look like there was much pressure on him. It looked like he had a lot of time on the ball. Now, I'm going to put that down to 2 things. Number one, the fact that he's not under pressure to be as defensively solid as normal, because Caicedo's got a little bit more help from Santos in the middle. So there's the pivot. Number 2, you've got Cucurella offering you width, and that allows Enzo Fernandez to drift into those spaces and try and dictate the play, right? If nobody follows Cucurella, then he's just in a lot of space, and he can either drive down, maybe whip a ball in. Like, that's something else for the team to have to think about. Overlapping so simple but so effective, right? I think the only negative about overlapping, and this is where potentially you could say Maresca was good, we've seen this with Reece James at least, is when you don't have a player that overlaps, maybe you're able to manage their workload a bit more. and they can play more minutes because they don't have to run as much. And I think James in the midfield at times was pretty, he benefited from that. He definitely benefited from that. But then the flip side is, where did Reece James play his best football? He played his best football when he was overlapping as a fullback under Thomas Tuchel. And that's the reality. But it's then like, would you rather have 10 games a season or 30 games a season or 25 games? Right? I'd rather get more games, if I'm totally honest with you. Because Reece James as a 7 out of 10 is still better than a lot of the other midfielders out there, to be quite frank. But what I like to see, an 8 or 9 out of 10 performance from him out wide, and then have an injury. That's the only negative of overlapping fullbacks. Apart from that, like, systematically, it just gives you more options. It allows you to do more in the middle, and it gives the midfielders more options as well. Imagine you're a midfielder. You're in a tight space, right? You've got another midfield. You've got your 10 in front of you. You might have, you've got your wingers. You've got your fullbacks, one of which is staying back, one of which is tucked inside. He's inverted. You're looking for an option at times, and I just need someone out on the touchline. I need someone there, but you're standing next to me, and especially when all of the players are occupying one space, it's pretty obvious what you do. And when you've got a Fernandes in your side who can spray a pass, utilize that. If you've got players in an area where they can receive that pass, then I'm more than confident that it's going to benefit us. Not to mention, Cucurella has proven that at the top end of the pitch, he's a lot better than he gets credit for. He can score goals, number one, but he can also create as well. Cucurella's, that guy deserves a pay rise. We just looked at the wages. He's on 175 grand a week. I think Cucurella's wages is one of the wages that isn't affected by the wage structure. Him, Fofana, James, and Chalobah as well. That's pretty much it. I don't know what the bonuses are like, but those were the Bowley contracts, right? Or the Abramovich contracts. So yeah, give the man a pay rise. Put Cucurella on 200 bags a week. That is a player that deserves every penny of that. Fernandes as well. He's got a lot of time left on his deal. To be fair, he's still got 7 years left. His contract expires in 2032. We're in no rush to extend that. Reese, less than 2 years left on his contract. Yeah, I think you're right, actually. Yeah, because we signed him on a 5-year deal. It expires in 2028. Yeah, you're right. Well, with James, I'll be honest with you. How old is he? Fuck it. You give him just give him the same deal. Don't give him a pay rise. Give him the same deal. $250,000. $250,000. 100%. $250,000. $250,000 for Reece James. If you were going to cash in on the guy, then you had your chance, and everyone would have criticised it. But at the same time, they would have gone, "Well, he's always injured," so there's that point as well. We have gone past the point of Reece James leaving being beneficial. He is that integral to this team in terms of the dressing room, what he offers when he is on the pitch, his presence, and the fact that he is a club legend. He is already a club legend. Reece James is a club legend. The guy's won Club World Cups. He's won Champions Leagues. He's won Conference Leagues. The guy's a fucking club legend. I'm not getting rid of Reece James. If it ever gets to a stage where he's still injury prone, and I pray that never happens, where we have to relive that. The guy his importance is that significant that you still have to look at it and go, no, we can't get rid of him. Tosin is another player where people want to get rid of him, and I'm a bit like, if you're going to get 15, 20 million for the guy, cash in, no problem. I don't have an issue with that. But again, look at what he is giving you. He's the oldest guy that's there, apart from Robert Sanchez. I think they're both 28. Apart from that, the next oldest player that we have is Cucurella, who's 27. The Sassy's 27. Chalaba's 26. James is 26. Like, I just don't see why you have to actively try and get rid of your experience when the benefits of some of the players that we have that are experienced is the fact that off the pitch, they're good. But if he's not playing, then that's great. I think we're already seeing the benefits of that. You got a happy Palmer. Tossin's best mates with Palmer. You don't need to sell the guy. The guy's not on ridiculous wages. Just fucking bin off someone else. Like, you've got Sterling's wages off of your book. I know we paid him off, but years down the line, that will obviously be beneficial. There's other players I'd rather get rid of other than Tossin. I'd rather get rid of De Sassy. I'd rather get rid of Lavia, to be honest with you. I think that it's time for Mark Guiu to move on. I think that it's time for Badia Shield to move on. Those are the players that I'm prioritizing getting rid of. Those are the ones, not Tossin. Because Tossin is a poor player in terms of what he's done for Chelsea this season. Guy can't operate at the Premier League level, can't do it. Good cup player, good squad player, good dressing room. That's what he gives you. That's the presence. You need someone to appear at a charity dinner? Call Tossin. That's what he does. He's a people's person. He'll take a picture with your son. I think they all would, to be fair. But, like, you get what I'm saying, right? Tossin's just, Palmer's busy. Just take Tossin. Take him. He can do the media duties. That's the benefit. There you go. Bit of a backhanded compliment. But, I do see the benefit of keeping Tossin, to be honest with you. Yeah. We've had 6 Chelsea players as well nominated for the London Football Awards. Moises Caicedo, Esteval, Willian on the men's side. And then on the women's side, we've got Millie Bright, Wiki Captain, Alyssa Thompson and Kira Walsh. They have all been shortlisted for honours at the 2026 London Awards. In 2025, Palmer, he won the Premier League Player of the Year and the Goal of the Season awards as well. So let's see if we can win some more. That would be nice, but we'll see what happens. We'll see where that goes. If they let Reece go, Clear Lake PR will be finished. Well, the only thing that you can say is that he's not on the wage structure. So if they're going to get him to fit into the wage structure, then fair enough. If he doesn't accept the wage structure, I think he would, to be honest with you. I think he would. I feel like James does love Chelsea enough to want to stay here for the rest of his career. I don't see why you wouldn't go with that. I mean, who knows? Reece has been our best player this season. Low-key has carried us in a lot of games. I remember when Caicedo got sent off against Arsenal and James just bossed that midfield, Trevor. Honestly, he bossed it. And that's where you got to give Maresca some credit. Like the guy, don't like the guy. He showed us that Reece James is an animal in midfield. Some of the performances were so good in midfield, I was like, fuck it. Play him every week there. Because I like Gusto. I'm not one of the anti-Gusto people, especially when he overlaps. I think that he's improved with inverting. I still don't think it's the best thing, but Gusto is a great squad player to have. Big fan of Gusto. Big fan of Hato as well. How good was Hato when he came on in the Wolves game? I thought he handled himself very well. I thought all of the substitutions handled themselves well. The only substitution that didn't come on and make an impact where I thought, oh yeah, you did a really good job was Garnacho. I was like, yeah, Garnacho, you're not really doing it, mate. I'll be honest with you. You're not really doing it. I thought Achimpong made some great tackles, good presence, calm on the ball. I thought Hato was good when he came on. Didn't have much time, but solid. I thought Delap was positive when he came on. didn't do anything crazy, but he wasn't bad. Made a couple of nice turns, leading a few transitions, heavy passing at times where he could have made life a little bit easier for his teammates. So all in all, I think that, again, Rafinha's subs were very, very positive. It's just about the way we start games. And I still stand by this. I think that we need to do better at the beginning of certain games. Like Wolves are just that poor. I don't think we get 2 penalties against any other side playing like that. I don't think that we go 3-0 up. I don't think we go 1-0 up against a lot of other Premier League sides. Wolves are just that bad. So I give credit for the performance. Well done, João Pedro, winning the penalties. Well done, Palmer, converting them. And great open play goal as well. You can't deny that. Open play goal is always going to put a smile on our face. But, we really need to mature as a team. This is a year where I want to see us mature. What's going to do that is very, very simple. We need more clean sheets, number one. Very disappointing. We couldn't. How can you not keep a clean sheet against Wolves when you're 3-0 up? Lack of concentration, in my opinion, to be honest with you. It's not a lack of quality. The set-piece goal, that was the only way they were ever going to score because they couldn't string 2 passes together, Wolves. Just trying to kill the game as well. Like you're 3-0 up, and then we didn't really look all that in the second half. It was a pretty poor way to consolidate the performance. But I've felt like that about a number of games under Rafinha in terms of we are just quite happy to hold on to the lead. And I'm not actually massively critical of that. I don't have any problem with it. I think it's strange when sometimes you need to hold on and you're still pushing. I'm like, just bring on a defender, man. Like, nobody's going to criticize you. Mourinho did the same thing. But Brentford, we came out of that game thinking we didn't really have control. Paphos, we came out. A lot of people said we were poor. I didn't actually look at Paphos that way. I thought against Paphos, we created a lot of chances. We just couldn't finish our dinner. That's not on the manager. That's the players. Palace was all about being clinical. We were there. We had individual moments, okay, which is something else we're going to see a lot more of. That's what's going to win us those type of games. Those Esteval goals, capitalizing off of a mistake. That João Pedro goal. Those are the things that, for me, are going to have a significant impact in a lot of Premier League games. Napoli, they dominated us in the first half. Good changes, making a difference. And West Ham as well, like, set up poorly, pathetic, deserved to get booed at halftime, and we managed to save ourselves. We're showing a bit of character there. But are we looking at these wins and going solid all round, top notch? Like, are we looking at it that way? Is that how we're going to look at it? Because I'm not looking at it like that. That's the reality. That's the reality of the situation. So Brentford, for me, like, let's look at Arsenal. Performance against Arsenal. 6 out of 10. Brentford, 6 out of 10. Paphos, 6 out of 10. Palace, decent performance in a lot of ways. I'll probably give it a 7 out of 10. Some of the substitutions were a bit strange, but ultimately it worked. Napoli, performance, seven and a half out of 10. West Ham, 6.5 out of 10, 7 for the second half, I guess. Wolves, 6 or 7 out of 10. It's been okay. It's been fine. So we're just maybe this is what we wanted, though, right? We wanted more stability. And I mean, the win against Wolves, you might say it's underwhelming. At least I say that. I still felt underwhelmed. Can't deny it's still a comfortable win, right? We still scored 3 goals. And I used to say that Maresca brought us stability. And Rosinya hasn't broken that. He definitely hasn't broken that stability. He has changed the way that we manage games. We're more proactive, in my opinion. I think that Maresca was proactive, to be fair. But I think Rosinya is more proactive than Maresca. And yeah, just an element of go out and play. And that's where you just lean on the individuals and you say, you're going to win me this game. Go out and do it. As opposed to, this is the run you need to make at this time. You need to do 1-2 here, tiki-taka, pass backwards if you can't go forwards, retain possession, blah, blah, blah. Only go long at this moment. A lot of information there. And there's one thing I've learned in football, sometimes less information is better. That's sports in general, though, isn't it? Is Giannis the owner of Chelsea Women's? Yes, but we don't know how big the stake is. We don't play a full 90 without dropping off in the first or second half. That's true. There's always a drop-off. We need to fix it. Is that young squad issue, or what do you think? To be fair, most important time with the runner. Yeah, I mean, my score predictions for February is win, win, win. 100% win ratio. If you don't win every game, I'm sorry, it's a failure. It's the truth. It's the God honest truth. And then we go into March, and it's not even a case of failure or success in terms of the same as February, because February, really, we should just cruise that month. March is where I will go like, this manager, he's cooking. Beat Arsenal, beat Villa, beat Newcastle, beat Everton. 3 of which are away. The only home game is Newcastle. Always beat Newcastle at home, by the way. Not a bad record at Aston Villa. Everton, not so great. But apparently they're playing very badly at their new stadium. So let's have that in mind, that maybe that could help us. Arsenal away, we need to redeem ourselves. And I'm a firm believer in, that bounce back, that sort of revenge, when you've lost 2 games and then you're like, fuck it, we need to go out and win one. We can't keep losing this. We have a poor record against Arsenal, but I'm going Rosinya. Go out and play some aggressive football, man. You've had a month where all you've been able to do, and this is a good thing, is give players confidence because they're playing against poor sides. That's all you've been able to reignite Palmer's form. You've been able to rest Fofana enough so that he feels fresh going into the Arsenal game. You got Reece James back. You got a midfield with Santos. You got a double pivot. It's working. Fernandes has got freedom. You got Steve who's ready to come back into the equation. Sanchez, like we haven't even spoken about him because he's been decent, stable there. Go and beat Arsenal, man. Go and beat Arsenal. And that's where I'm at, guys. That's where I'm at. So let me know, guys, if you agree or disagree with anything I've said. But I think we've kind of gone over most of the things that we need to talk about. Check out OK Jersey as well if you haven't. okjersey.com. There is a QR code on screen, as well as a link in the description. If you use the code CFTV, you get 8% off. It's already dirt cheap anyway, but you can get it even cheaper. And any questions, guys, let me know in the comments or the chat. I feel like we're having a good month in February. February's going to be a very relaxing month, sort of armchair month, really. Just sit back and enjoy the ride. But anyway, apart from that, I'm going to love and leave you guys. All the best, and we are going to catch up very